Okay. Thank you very much. Now let us go to the second round and we begin with Major General Dipankar Banerjee. China has reached the economic and military cloud that neither the US nor Japan nor India individually or as a group can afford to have an open conflict with China. So cooperation, competition and engagement constitute the magic mantra to deal with China. Do you agree with this observation made by one analyst?
I think looking at our global relations, one should move away from our original thinking necessarily of conflict, but perhaps revert to the theme of today's discussion that is spelled out as to how do we balance these important strategic relationships that are arising in the world, and as a growing power of significance, how does India deal with the situations so that India, in its ultimate national objective, ensures the full safety, security of its citizens and a steady growth for the nation, which will bring us to the fulfillment of our national objectives. In managing that, of course, you've highlighted the distinct situations developing globally. You have the rise of this China as an alternate power, third power, second power, and threatened to overcome that of the US power in a very short period of time. The Harvard School have referred to this as a Thucydides trap, referring to the Peloponnesian War in the pre-Christian era. Others have referred to the situation comparing it to the 30 Years' War in the early 16th century. And of course, others have also compared this to the First World War and the way it broke out because of the lack of understanding between these major powers and the emerging powers of the time. We have to break through that. And it is in that we should not necessarily be thinking in terms of conflict with China, in which neither side will win. Please accept, we are nuclear weapon powers. China, India and Pakistan, apart from the other existing nuclear weapon powers. We have to find ways in dealing with our problems short of war. Conflict must not be the first option as of now for any of these countries. And hence, without going into too many details of this, we'll have to manage our relations with China better. I think Prime Minister Modi has got a strategy. I personally am looking forward to his visit to China in May. I hope we have done some working out of relations and we have to address this issue with China. Currently, China's military expenditure and military power is growing at a very rapid rate. It is 3.5 times that of India's defense expenditure. And that 3.5 times is spent much better in China with greater effect than it does in India. And it has the capability of maintaining that for a much longer period of time. So therefore, in this situation, how do we manage this relationship? To developing coalitions with the rest of the world, confronting China, trying to contain it by whatever means, even without calling it containment? Or are there other ways of dealing with it? You know, this is something that all of us have to really think very hard about and try to find answers to. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commodore Uday Bhaskar, as I said in my opening remark, India is today in demand. Is it on account of our economy turning around and Modi turning out to be a decisive leader, or dictated by the prevailing international geostrategic conditions? India's tightrope walk with the US, China and Japan at the same time is like a Chinese juggler trying to keep 3 balls in the air all the time. Don't you think sooner or later one of the balls is going to fall down?
Let me pick up that last part first. Is it likely that one of the 4 elements will fall down soon? I'll put my head on the block and say it's unlikely. So I'll try and, give you reasons as to why I think so. While it is true that I use the phrase that India is in the equivalent of a strategic sweet spot, I would suggest that there are structural reasons for it. Yes, Prime Minister Modi has brought a certain degree of political traction and optimism, particularly in relation to the last phase of UPA 2, where I think there was a certain sense of despondency about India and its political management of various issues. But my assessment or interpretation as an analyst is that the reason why India is now receiving the kind of favorable attention that it is because of these structural factors. One is India's demography, a certain resilience associated with India, and all the macro assessments in terms of the geoeconomic trends of the world suggest that over the next decade and a half, in all likelihood, we will have the emergence of a triangular single state economic matrix at the higher end, which is China is likely to be the world's number one GDP, give and take 20, 27, 30, depending on which estimate you look at. The United States will be a close second, and India would be a distant third. Yes, the European Union as a cluster will still have a certain economic weight, but it is already committed to the United States in a strategic sense. So I think what is favoring India, the reason why India's stock, if you were to relate this to the market, why the stock is high and looked upon favorably, is because of the indicators of India: demography, the commitment to the democratic principle, the ability to deal with diversity, and a socio-economic model which is very different from what the developed world has already traversed. And Mr. Modi does bring this particular, I would say, political optimism. And the other three walls, pillars, whatever you want to call them, India apart, while Japan has limitations that General Banerjee has already touched upon, I think its current weight and its alignment with the United States will not allow it to fall. And China, there are so many sort of, shall we say, schools of thought about China unraveling, the collapse of China. Will there be another Tiananmen? All the internal factors. I again would put my head on the block and say that the probability, while it exists, is at this point, I think, below the median. Nobody can discard the wild card or possibility in China. But the way in which President Xi Jinping is consolidating his own grasp over the entire system would suggest that they will also not, quote unquote, fall.